Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome, breast keepers. We are so excited to be back with you this week. We do hope that you enjoyed the last session dealing with breast awareness. And now it's time for another very interesting session, a podcast episode. So, if you will, join in with us. Feel free to send us communications any way you want to let us know how we're doing. Please tell your friends and share with others to subscribe with us, okay? All right. So thank you again for having us. And of course, you've got the M, the V, and the P here with you. All right.
Hey,
Thank you
all
so
right
much.
now. I like that girl, the M, the V, and the
The
P.
P.
All right now. All right, so hello everybody. We still in January. It's cold outside and everything, but we are inside and we're working together on our
Mm-hmm.
breasts. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So we want to talk to you today a little bit about mammograms. So we all know when it's time to go for our mammograms, we all get very nervous. You kind of get a little jittery. You just one you hate to go in there for the whole exam, right? It's just nerve wracking. And one thing I want to tell you in the beginning: don't wear your best to the mammogram. Like we all have church clothes, we all have nice clothes. Everybody know you got nice clothes, but don't wear your best, your tight mama dress, your best fitting church clothes. Just
Mm-hmm.
don't even wear all that. Wear something where you can be very comfortable. Wear loose fitting clothes
Mm-hmm.
because they're going to ask you to take them off. You got to
Exactly.
take them off from the waist up. You got to take it off. So don't even wear a dress. Don't even wear a dress.
Jewelry, nothing.
Yeah,
I
no
wouldn't wear jewelry
jewelry,
either.
no jewelry. And you know what else they tell you? And everybody know I love braces. First time I had to take all my braces off. But one other thing they don't like you to wear is what? And we wear it every day.
Perfume. Oh, deodorant.
Perfume,
Oh, I
Deodorant.
know.
deodorant.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Deodorant, and that's a good one too, Vaughn, perfume. But
Mm-hmm.
deodorant, that's the
Mm-hmm.
first thing they tell you to take off. So
Mm-hmm.
you leave the house, what you do? You put your perfume on, you put your deodorant on, put your nice
Mm-hmm.
clothes on, and you gotta take all that off.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things we just want to share with you, ladies and men, don't wear your best to the mammogram. Wear something comfortable, loose fitting, and all of that, right? And be comfortable.
Yeah.
And not tight. The other thing we want to share with you is a mammogram is a low dose of what? An X-ray, right? It's an
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
X-ray. So what does an
Mm-hmm.
X-ray include? What does an
Mm-hmm.
X-ray include? It includes what?
X-ray.
Radiation.
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 Radiation. So did you
Mm-hmm.
know that every time you get a mammogram, you get a small dose of radiation? I
Mm-hmm.
didn't even know that
What?
at first.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get a small dose of radiation. If you notice, each time when they do it, the ladies or the men who are taking it, they step away from you
They
and
do.
from the
Oh.
machine and they go
Mm-hmm.
back over to the corner. They're not near you when they do it. It's
Oh.
just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like when you get procedure, like when you're at the dentist office and they take
Mm-hmm.
your x-ray in the dentist office. Remember, they don't stay in there with you. They step
Mm-hmm.
out the room, they take it, then they come back, right? So
Mm-hmm.
same thing with your mammogram, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So that's
Mm-hmm.
something that I realized in my research that it is a small dose of radiation that's going into us and wear loose fitting clothes, right? Okay,
Yeah.
then you want to, they give you a gown to put on and where the front of it is open. So you kind of tie that together to kind of close up your, whatever you
Your
have on under there.
tatas.
Yeah.
I don't say it.
And if you got a little pooch in the stomach like I do, you got to cover that up too. So
Exactly.
so it covers that up too, and whatever else if you wear some pants or shorts, you'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things I want to talk about too is there are different types of mammograms, right? Different
Mm-hmm.
types you have. You can go get a regular mammogram, or you can go get a diagnostic mammogram. You can get an ultrasound as part two of your mammogram. They're all different type tests and exams you can get when you go for your mammogram. It just depends on where you are in your life and what they see when they do the first mammogram.
Mammogram. That's
Mm-hmm.
correct.
Right, right.
Mm-hmm.
Because what if they see something after the first mammogram, which they call that just the normal routine. That's what they call it.
Routine. Mm-hmm.
Routine
Routine
mammogram.
mammogram. Mm-hmm.
That's right. Everybody gets that, and you start getting at the age of 40, which
Mm.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I'm not a physician, but I would like if they would start a little earlier. But you started normally they recommend that you started at the age of 40. But for
But
like,
Pam, mhm.
go
But you
ahead.
know that there's some research out there now saying that young adults need to
Yeah,
go. They're
absolutely.
becoming
It
diagnosed early, so go early.
and it all
Yeah,
depends on your family history.
Yes, that's true. That's
Mm-hmm.
true. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you said that because I was going to
Yeah.
say, like, for those of us who are survivors and we have children, I would love for them to get tested earlier rather than later, waiting to 40 years old, get the exam. But anyway,
And
Mm-hmm.
some of the
so,
and some of the physician, your doctors will have your daughters just to start testing
mhm,
earlier.
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Which is a very good thing. We want that,
Exactly.
right? We want that.
Yes.
And if your
Absolutely.
physician doesn't mention it, remember how we talk about being your biggest advocate.
Mm-hmm.
Advocate for yourself, and
Step.
you mention it to your doctor, right?
Exactly.
Absolutely.
They don't mention it. You got to realize physicians are just like everybody else. They busy. They got
Mm-hmm.
lives going. They got personal problems. They got business problems. They're trying to
Yep.
take care of their jobs, their patients, everything. So they have a lot on their plate too. So
That's right.
Exactly.
sometimes you have to remind them to say, "Hey,
Mm-hmm.
remember I have a daughter or a son, and I like to start them. What would you recommend? And can we get them in to start testing
Mm-hmm.
earlier? Right?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Right.
have something to say. And when you're filling out your paperwork, like tell your like your daughters, your nieces, your sons, anybody that you know that's going to the doctor for anything, make sure they list all the family history, any kind of diseases, cancer, whether it's grandma, great grandmother, aunt, uncle, cousin. I would list everything
Mhm.
on that form.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
glad you brought that up because they do ask you to do that now. And I
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
actually, last time I went, I had it down pat. I said, "Can I get a copy of that? Because I want to make sure I get it right. Because it'll ask for your on your mother's and your dad's side, and
Dead
even if
side.
Exactly.
it's
Mm-hmm.
it could be lung cancer, colon cancer, whatever cancer they want to know
They want to
what
know.
Right.
type, and they want to know who had it. Was it an uncle? And they want to know if it was a paternal or maternal, right?
That's correct.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So that's a very good point, Marie. And
Mm-hmm.
so after you get your routine mammogram, they see something, then they're going to do what they call a diagnostic mammogram, which is
Mm-hmm.
a little more in depth if they see something, right? And I
Yes.
get diagnostic mammogram. Now I can tell you with the diagnostic mammogram, a lot of times your insurance will cover the routine because they call it preventative medicine or preventative.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, let's say called preventative, but for the diagnostic, it normally costs more. It costs a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll put a different code in for it. It's even a different medical code when you get a
Mm-hmm.
diagnostic mammogram. Were you guys aware of that?
I learned it
I learned. Yeah, I
during
learned
my
that going to
process.
school.
Yeah, yeah. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you get the diagnostic mammogram, the other thing they'll do a lot of times is you if you don't feel comfortable, they'll do an ultrasound, right?
That's
Yes.
correct because I had an ultrasound.
Hmm.
I do want to piggyback off that, Pam, with the 3D test. Some of your insurance, once you've been diagnosed with breast cancer, some insurance will cover. You don't have to pay extra or for any other type of breast test, like your
Mm-hmm.
ultrasound. If you want 3D, you don't have to pay extra money for that. So
Right,
anything
right,
that relates to your breast, if you had breast cancer, most insurance will cover it, the
right.
service.
And
And
Hmm.
they
I even
call it.
asked, go
Go
ahead.
ahead, Bon. Go ahead, Bon.
No, I was just going to say, I even asked if I could get mine every 6 months because I'm not paranoid, but I just, I was just kind of thinking, can we do it every 6 months? And it wasn't encouraged. However, I think if some people want and can afford to pay for it, do what your heart and mind feels.
Yes.
I want to go back to and piggyback off the 3D, Marie. So the 3D, just like when you go to a movie and you want
Right.
to see a 3D movie, it shows you what the movie how bigger, right? It
Bigger.
shows
Yeah.
up close and
Mm-hmm.
everything. The 3D version. So that's really what the mammogram does. When you said 3D, it kind of slices and dices it and shows you a bigger, more. I guess what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, but it's
A
larger
bigger
images,
picture.
larger images of
Yes.
your
Mm-hmm.
breast. That's what I was trying to say. So it
Mm-hmm.
shows you that in a different format, and it's able to detect um any abnormalities or anything like that with your breast, right? That they
Mm-hmm.
see from those images. So it does give a little bit more better view of the images when you do the 3D. That's very good. You brought that up.
Mhm.
It gives you different angles and things like that. Now, another question I want to ask everybody out here. Can a mammogram detect cancer? Now let that marinate for a minute. Can a mammogram detect cancer?
Okay, for me, a mammogram can detect cancer, but in my case, the mammogram didn't pick up my cancer. I had to have further testing, the ultrasound, and then I had to go on with the MRI. So for most cases, a mammogram can, but in my case, the mammogram didn't pick that cancer up. So I had to go do further testing. So just to let you know.
I'm going to say it depends because I don't know the true answer. I've been informed, and I know so many persons that are listening out there have been told you have dense breast tissue. And so I don't know what the answer is. So I'm going to be middle of the road and say it depends.
Okay, good
Okay.
answer.
So the answer is a mammogram can detect cancer, but it cannot diagnose cancer. So it
Makes
can
sense.
detect it, but it
Okay.
cannot diagnose if you have cancer or not. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So you guys know right or wrong answer there. Y'all were right on spot on about it. So it can just prove that there's some abnormalities in your breast and that it can be cancer or it can be benign. It's just something that it sees there that's not normal, right?
That's correct.
So that's one of the things. And then when it's not going back to Marie about the MRI, I've had an MRI too. That costs additional money too, thousands of dollars,
Exactly.
thousands, and a lot of times that's not covered for your routine mammogram, for the diagnostic, and then when you get the ultrasound, that the MRI costs way a lot more money, right? So,
It depends on your insurance.
well, that's
Yeah.
true. It depends on
Right.
your insurance. Well,
Yeah.
I had to pay, so I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Right.
Yeah, I had to pay, and then even when you get to the point, if they see something for your biopsy, for your
Ooh.
breast biopsy, if they see
Mm-hmm.
something and they see something that they think is cancerous, then you
Yes.
go to another test, which is a biopsy, right?
That's correct.
And
Mm-hmm.
we'll
That's where you
talk
get your
more.
diagnosis from.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that's exactly
Mm-hmm.
right. And we'll talk more about that in some other sessions, but I just want to bring up that's the testing exam phase. You got your
Mm-hmm.
routine mammogram, then you have your diagnostic mammogram, then you may have an ultrasound, then you'll have an MRI. And all of
Mm-hmm.
those, like you said, Marie, depending on your insurance, some are covered, some are not. It's best to always check with your insurance. Don't go by when you get a bill, because if you get the bill, sometimes they're wrong. They use the wrong code.
That's correct.
I'm dealing with an issue now. They used the wrong code when I went for my last mammogram. It should have been coded as a routine mammogram, and they didn't code it that way. So I have a bill for like $400 now.
Oh
But
wow.
I called, and they just told me, well, you need to call them back, tell them to change the code from medical code to routine code.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what they told me. So
Good.
I
Good tip.
called and did that, and so that's all I've got to do.
Oh, okay.
Let's do this. So I call and did it. So hopefully I
Mm-hmm.
get they'll send me another bill with zero, but we'll see. That's the plan. That's the plan. But that's what we want to encourage you. Don't just go what you get in the mail. Check with your physician, check with your
Mm-hmm.
insurance, and make sure before you pay thousands of dollars for something like Marie said that may be covered under your
Mm-hmm.
insurance, right?
That's correct.
Okay, let's talk a few minutes about how long does the mammogram take? How long does this whole process take when you normally go?
I know it's less than an hour.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
was
it
gonna say
depends
about
on how
30 to
many people.
45 minutes.
Yes, less than
Yeah,
an
Mm-hmm.
hour. How many people in the waiting room? How many tests they doing
right.
that day?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
the
It takes
actual
that.
testing, mm-hmm.
That's about right. That's about right. And then if you
Mm-hmm.
have to do, like you said, additional testing, they may send you to another waiting room to wait.
Yes.
So basically, you're just saying, ladies and men, plan on at least an hour to an hour and a half of your time, depending if they're running a little behind or whatever when you go for your appointment. And try to be on time because they have so many other people that are
Mm-hmm.
coming for the same test that you have, and they're trying to get you in and out. And if you need to see further testing, they're trying to get you to that next room as well, right? Any
Thank
other
you.
Yes,
things
ma'am.
you want to bring up about that, ladies?
I do. One of the things, like I shared, was the dense breast tissue. And one of the things that I started doing is I started sharing with them because once I got a phone call, I was out of town, enjoying dinner. And, it's like, hey, this is the XYZ. We need for you to come back. So what I started doing was saying to them, I said, hey, in lieu of me going home, y'all know I got dense breast tissue. I'm going to wait for y'all to read those results before
Okay.
I leave. And so what that did was brought down a lot of anxiety well before, my journey. And that helped me. And again, this we're just inserting thoughts, food for thought for some people. So I just began that process maybe 10, 15 years ago. I'll say, well, you know what? I'll just sit here and wait. And somebody, in case y'all have to go back in and do another test, because I had anxiety, several years ago when I had that experience. And thank goodness the first, experience was nothing. But I just began that process on my own to just say, I'll wait.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to say, even if you do the mammogram and they, give you stating that it's nothing, they don't see anything. Like for my journey, when they told me that, I went back to my doctor, my OBGYN, and I said, something's going on. I know what the mammogram results was negative, but I knew something else was going on. And she sent me for further testing. And that's when I
Mhm.
Okay.
had to go for the ultrasound and the MRI. And that's when they came back the next day and told me it was breast cancer, because
Mm.
I knew
Praise
something was
God,
going.
you advocated for yourself.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's my point.
Mm-hmm.
Advocate for yourself. Even if the test says
Absolutely.
negative, if you
Mm-hmm.
still feel something, something different with your body, go
Mm-hmm.
back to your OBGYN and say, I need further testing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you definitely have to do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. Thank you for sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I can say for when I got my and go every year.
Yes.
Go every year. Do not miss a year if you can't help it, because I was
Mm-hmm.
going every year, and then one year I had it, so in
Mm-hmm.
2013. And so I remember the nurse telling me that. She said, well, we see something, but we're not really sure. She said, so we're going to run further tests. So I think I did an ultrasound right then and there. And then she said, well, we want to schedule you to come back for a biopsy. I said, well, what is that? And
Oh,
then I
okay.
said, well, I was actually training Vaughn for the race to come there in
Yeah.
Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
I was training
Mm-hmm.
because as a runner, y'all, I was training for a marathon, the Arkansas Marathon. And for people who are runners, it's a huge medal. You get really big. And I had been training for months, and I want to get my medal. Y'all know I don't play by my medal.
She gonna get
Yeah.
that
So,
medal.
oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't play by my medal. So I was like, I'm going over there and do this race. I've been training. So when she said to come back, and I said, well, what is that? She said, well, your arm is going to be a little sore, on this side, wherever they check, well, you're going to be a little sore. And I
Yes.
said, well, I'm not. I said, I'm going to come back. She was like, you going to come back? I said, yeah, I've been training for this race and I'm going to come back. And they looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, well, if I got something, it'll be here when I come back.
Oh.
And I just went on to over there to Arkansas. I did that race by myself, got my medal, came
Sure
back,
did.
and I had my biopsy done then. And so it
Yes.
was so funny at the doctor's office. They go, "Oh, there's a lady that wouldn't get her biopsy because she had a race to do."
Mm-hmm. And Pam, when I went through my situation, I literally had a event for my nonprofit. And so I said, no, I got to wait till this event is over. So I kind of did something similar.
Yeah,
I
Oh,
said, I
wow.
catch it. And
just
I
didn't
didn't,
want to hear
I
any
just,
bad news, or I just didn't want
right,
that on my mind. I like
right.
if you I'm quite sure you've been working on your nonprofit for months,
Mm-hmm.
and that was very important to you, very passionate
Yeah.
about it.
Mm-hmm.
You wanted to complete that and you want to be successful. So you didn't want anything negativity or whatever
Mm-hmm.
Distracting you.
in your
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
mindset, and throwing
That's
you off
right.
of what your goal you're trying to achieve with that. I get
Absolutely.
it. I get it 200%. So I
Yes,
agree with you.
ma'am.
So if anybody's out there, you got something going on, if you need to put it up a day or two, put up. But now we ain't saying, we not advise you put out for 3 months or nothing. But we
Exactly.
just saying
Right.
if it's a couple of days, whatever they're gonna find on Friday, they're gonna
It's
find
gonna
on
be there
next
on
Thursday.
Monday. Yes.
Right.
Right.
Same
Yeah.
thing. All
Right.
right. So going back to, I want to talk about with the radiation. I do want to point out this. Even though we know the radiation can be harmful to your body, because I had radiation as part of my treatment, mammograms does do a small amount of radiation, but the benefits of getting the mammogram outweighs the radiation far more than the exposure. So I do want to
Mm-hmm.
point that out. Even though we're letting you know you're getting the radiation exposure, but getting the mammogram, the benefits of doing that outweighs it like tremendously. So we want to point that out to everybody.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And we talked about the insurance. What else we want to share with everybody? Talked about the insurance, talked about our
And don't
experiences,
be
right?
afraid. And there
Yeah,
are free services out there. In other
right,
words, some entities and organizations, they'll have I call it a van or a truck, and they'll do those mammograms on site. So if
right.
you are unemployed or don't have the resources, call the health department, but don't let things just go, because that's when, for some people, things happen. Mine was a year to a year, from from one year to the next November. So I didn't have any slack or anything. It was just detected during that routine mammogram.
Mammogram.
So,
Hmm.
but if you don't have the resources, just don't stop there. Start asking around, calling, start with your health department, look for, places where they do those drives. Churches do drives,
Yeah,
their
Exactly.
outreach ministries and so forth. So, don't delay and help others. That's part of the thing that I really like, going back to our previous podcast, is that even though we were encouraged to do self-breast exams, we were also encouraged to encourage others to do self-breast exams. So
Exactly.
now in this breast awareness, we need to make people aware that there are other options if they lose their jobs or what have you. Just don't give up on all your
Right.
medical, you know,
Right.
your medical care.
And to piggyback on that, Vondra, also ask your physician. They know about a lot of
Yes.
programs that will pay for those
Absolutely.
services, mammograms,
Mm-hmm.
and things like that,
Yeah.
and cover
Absolutely.
the
Yeah.
cost. So
Mm-hmm.
talk to your
Yes.
doctor about it.
Yeah. That
There's a lot of
you
programs
own
out
something right there, girlfriend. You are on something.
Yeah, Vaughn, thanks so much for being because you do need to make sure there's so many other opportunities that you can utilize wherever you
Yes.
are, state to state, city to city. Check with
Mm-hmm.
your healthcare facility, check with what you offer in your city, your state. There are a lot of free services. So
Mm-hmm.
don't go without. I have a
Yes.
close friend, a soror of mine that actually lost her job and she went without. And when she did go back to get her memory, because she skipped it for a couple of years, she had breast cancer, and it had progressed, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
And so, praise God, she's still here. But that can be a factor. You know, early detention is the key,
Is the
right?
Mm-hmm.
key.
Early
Early
detection and
detection.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
early
Mm-hmm.
detection. That's right. It's the key. I'm sorry. So make sure you do go every year possible. If, like you said, if you lost your job, whatever, find another way to get it done.
That's
Yes.
exactly
Find
right.
another way
That's
to get it
exactly
done.
right.
Because
Mm-hmm.
there are other ways. And like Marie said, check with your physician. See
Mm-hmm.
what other
It's a
things are
lot of
out there.
services. Yeah, they have a lot of services. They know
Yeah.
the different programs.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And like Vaughn
Yes.
said, they have the mobile. They call it
Oh
the
yeah.
mammogram mobility. It's a
Mm-hmm.
mobile van that goes around. I'm actually going to get them to come and be at my church. I'm trying to work on that for
Awesome.
in
Oh, good
October.
idea.
Yeah,
Good.
as part of our
Awesome.
celebration for the awareness in October. But yeah, you can
Absolutely.
get
That's great.
them and call them, and they'll come to different facilities and site locations. Even if it's at your church, if it's something that you want to get a bunch of ladies, girl, whatever, check with
Mm-hmm.
them. They do that as well.
And you know, girlfriends like to do girl things together. That would be
Yeah,
something fun to
yeah,
do.
it's a
Yes.
Seriously.
very good
Mm-hmm.
idea. Very good
Yeah.
Hmm.
idea.
Mm-hmm.
Very good idea. All right, so we've talked a lot about mammograms, the different procedures, how to get it done early. We talked about their costs associated with it.
Yes.
What else, ladies, can you think about we need to discuss today about mammograms?
I think we've
I
hit all
think
high points, and if not,
Okay.
we, you know, we're gonna eventually get some questions, and then we'll be able
Yeah.
to share. But I would just really want to encourage, because there is a trend with our younger adults. Start early. Don't wait. Don't delay.
Yes.
You know, younger people sometimes think that they're gonna live longer, live to infinity, or they won't get sick or whatever. But I'm acquainted with a 28-year-old, so that's young. You know, so we just
Yeah.
need to start as early as we are comfortable starting. Let me just say it like that.
I guess I'm the numbers person. I want to go back to something about that money. So with the test, there is another cost associated. You
Okay.
get something from the radiology from the lab. Remember that? You get another bill from the lab, separate from if you get the ultrasound or the MRI, you get a lab bill.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
they'll send you,
absolutely. Yeah, I remember
yeah.
that.
So
Yeah,
you get a separate bill. So
you sure
be
do.
aware for that. You get a lab bill too. So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
just hit me up, send me a note in the comments, or I'll respond back to you letting you know. But there is a lab. You get the
You do
diagnostic
get your
mammogram
lab
bill,
report.
Yeah.
ultrasound
Mm-hmm.
bill, and you get the lab bill too.
You
So
sure
and,
do.
and the MRI. So
Because you're like, who is
just
this doctor? I just went to
Right.
one, and you see all these doctors' names.
and you like
Exactly.
I didn't even go there, but they
But you
they sent
did.
me the
Yes, you
bill.
did.
Yeah, so that's
Yes,
about that. I just thought about the lab. But so this has been great
it
conversation.
sure has
Hopefully,
been.
Yeah.
we have been a blessing to share this information as survivors with the folks that are out there listening to us. We're so grateful and thankful that you're with us on this journey. Like Vaughn said in the beginning, this is week 3.
Yes, it
So
is.
we plan to stay lit in 2026 this week 3. And so we're super excited to have you with us from week to week. Like we said, 1552, that's our slogan.
That's
Give us
right.
15 minutes of your time for 52 weeks. And we're going to share something with you that we've learned, researched, what have you, that we think will be
Mhm.
beneficial to you on your journey or on your cousin's journey, your mother's journey, somebody journey,
Somebody do. Hmm.
somebody
Right.
journey. And it doesn't have to be for women. This is men and
Mhm.
women.
Women. That's
Okay.
right. Okay.
So I guess thank you for giving us
Thank you
something
so
that you
much.
can never get back your time.
Your time.
That's
Bye.
right.
Bye bye.
Bye, y'all.